Hello and welcome. This is Rooflemonger, my friends. The big DnF Duel patch is here, and this game has changed pretty wildly in a lot of ways. Some are across the board, some are a lot more character specific, and we're going to go through everything. So there will be timestamps for you to skip forward to whatever makes sense for you. Although if you use a timestamp, please leave a like, it would be appreciated. That said, before we go into the character specifics, let's talk about just the general changes of the gameplay systems, because, well, it changes up quite a bit. So, out of the gate, every single character in the game has more health. Now, as for the details of, the numbers, I'll leave that to you check in the patch notes. I'll have that linked in the video description. But every single character now has more health, and this means basically less touch-of-death scenarios and more chances to come back after screwing up. Also, when it comes to the guard gauge, that's the gauge that goes down on the side here while you're blocking. Many characters, strikers specifically, regardless of what you did, if she touched you at all, you were going to get bopped. And you would get guard broken and then you would die, right? So every character now has more guard gauge than they had before. Once again, numbers are different character to character. Check the patch notes for the specific numbers. But basically the scenario of the I touch you with anything and your guard broken, that hopefully, we'll leave it to people to find out the tech, right? But that hopefully should be gone. Now, of course, if your guard gauge is getting beat up, you will eventually get broken anyways. But that is one of the big things out of the gate. Every character has more health. Every character has more guard gauge to work with. Another big fundamental change to the game is how the roll works. So the roll before, well, it was invincible-ish. The thing is, the invincibility didn't start up right away. So in scenarios, say, where you're getting beat up exactly when you're waking up, it wasn't going to save you. And, a lot of characters had their invincible reversals, but not everyone had invincible reversals that worked. Let's put it that way. So they were just kind of boned. Now the roll, which is universal to everyone can do it, is invincible frame 1. So if you are in a situation where you just have to hold it, you can literally just roll out. Now, once again, if they call you rolling, you still have recovery. You have less recovery. Recovery is better, but you can still get blown up if they call you out. But now it's a universal defensive option. Everyone can do it. Now, of course, as well, rolls do get blown up by throws. That's another thing to note. But everyone has a frame 1 invincible wake up now. And, of course, it's useful in neutral too. You can use it to bypass fireballs, all that kind of stuff. So roll is much more useful to everyone. One of the main complaints about DnF Duel is it's a game where offense was way too strong compared to the defense. And now defense is better than it used to be. On that note here, so guard cancels, another universal defensive mechanic, got a little bit better. It still costs a lot of mana, because, it is a powerful effect, to get off me. But as it's written here, it says adjusted the recovery on oneself, as in you, the person doing the guard cancel, and stun on the opponent to reduce the hit guard frame gap. So basically, a lot of situations where you could make guard cancel kind of useless will now be mitigated. Now, I'm sure there's going to be plenty of opportunities to bait it out, trick it out, all that kind of stuff. But it's more effective at doing what it's designed to do. So, more health, more guard gauge for everyone, much better rolls, superior rolls to how it used to be, better guard cancel. Defense across the board is getting a buff in DnF Duel, which is great, because as you'll find out when we go to the character specifics, it's not like they tone down the offense too much either. In fact, it's more wild than ever in a lot of ways. Just now you have an opportunity to breathe sometimes while all the craziness is going down. So now let's go into the character specifics. So the Berserker, one of the biggest changes here out of the gate is how his awakening effect is. So he has some extra options compared to what he had before. One of the things you might notice out of the gate here is these new little blue icons, because basically he does more damage now. It's not a lot more, but he does do more damage while in awakening. So basic baby combo here, just to show you, does 172 damage. But if you were to do the exact same sequence in awakening mode, you'll find, well, it does more damage. Does 180 now. Once again, not a lot more, but carry this over longer combos. It just means you put out more damage. That's great. Another thing about his awakening now is obviously he's all about the lifesteal effects, right? And now he's prioritized to heal regular life before healing the white life, which means you can still maintain that life to do all sorts of cancel combos out of your white health, right? Because once again, you can use your white health as a resource for combos. So before, if you healed a little too much, well, it'd just go away. And, you know, it's not the end of the world or nothing, but now you maintain that offensive option. So you can get not only more damaging combos, but much more inventive damaging combos, thanks to the fact that you can still white health cancel. Now, a lot of Berserker's buttons are just plain better, and it leads to all new possibilities, because one of the things here, his down S, well, you can jump cancel it now. So I can follow you up in the air while you're getting hit, which means, well, all sorts of possibilities, right? One of the things now on top of this, jumping A, his little jumping kick here, has more hit stun, so you can use it more in combos. And also the grounded S, this guy here, has a better hitbox, so it hits from further away than it did before. And also, if it happens to hit an airborne enemy, which, you know, much easier now that you can just kind of juggle people, when it splats people down, the knockdown is also longer than it was before. So, new pressure, new combo routes, new everything. Get inventive with it. Another change is down S here, while you're in the air. The second hit can now hit grounded foes, which is actually a pretty big deal. So at bare minimum, it means stuff like this, where you can just kind of sneak in an OTG after the fact. That'll be good, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of setups where you don't need to conversion cancel, and you can just land as OTG, conversion cancel that, and then just re-juggle. So explore, because this definitely got a lot of potential. Other quality of life changes here. Gorecross, this guy here, is projectile. So the projectile has less recovery, so you recover faster, meaning you can block faster, or you can just spam the move again faster, whatever you so choose. Raging Fury, that is his reversal. It now launches the opponent up higher on the final blast, so more frame advantage for you, works out great. His Bloodlust, his grab, so reduced recovery on hit and increased the knockdown. So that basically means more frame advantage for you. Perhaps if you're very tight on the timing, you might be able to land the second hit of the dive kick. Although, I don't know, I'm sloppy with the timing, so that might be possible. I don't know, we'll figure it out. But yeah, so it's not like he was a bad character, and this is definitely just buffs across the board. Berserker's doing pretty good. So the Vanguard, definitely a character that struggled before, unfortunately. So how did he make out? Well, one, just like the Berserker, he now does more damage while he's in awakening state. So that's great. More damage is more damage. You love to see it. Also, a little thing, but his crouching guard state here, this right here, so reduced the hurt box. So he's lower to the ground than he was before. There's a lot of like instant overhead shenanigans in the game. The striker being the chief component of which for the most part. So that hopefully means he can't just get randomly instant overheaded with no recourse otherwise. Standing B, that's the big bop here. So interesting, one has reduced recovery, so he just recovers faster. That's great. And also it can now OTG the opponent. So while they're knocked down on the ground, he can connect. So in this scenario here, there we go. Just a clean connect. So more opportunities for damage, more opportunities for combos. World is your oyster in that regard. Now, I kind of put the cart before the horse here because I used that example with this. And wait a second. So his magic skill, normally you have to do, you know, the move and then you can do the follow-ups, right? That's how it's worked. And it's worked out fine that way. But now, let's skip that middleman. You can now immediately do the magic skill and cancel into whatever follow-up you want out of the gate. You do not have to wait for the initial animation to finish. You can do anything you want immediately, which is great. That means you get the damage of the drill. You can use the charge to rush forward, and it's one of those moves where, depending on your spacing, you can make it very safe, right? Potentially even advantage on block. And also, this means you get armor on demand. Now if someone's attacking you, you can just blow through that stuff. You got your own source of super armor. You don't have to wait for the initial attack to finish. You can just do it. And of course, if a counter hits, it's a crumple state and you get a combo. This is the biggest deal. These are basically almost in a way adding 3 new moves to the character because you can do it right away without having to wait. It is a massive, I can't stress enough. Big deal for this character. It's a great change for him. Also, just to throw it out there as well, the moves themselves got better. So shoulder charge has reduced recovery, and also it is invincible against projectiles faster than it was before. The big old armored hit, also reduced recovery. Other quality of life changes here, down S. Now, jump cancelable on hit. So now, if you want to use that anti-air, use it as a combo or whatever, you have opportunities you never had before. Also great. Earth Shatter. This guy here has forward magic skill. So now, reduce the recovery. Also, wall bounces, as you can see. So if you're a bit far away, it might be a little difficult, although I'm sure you'll find a way. But if you happen to be close to the enemy, well, geez Louise, this is the easiest thing in the world to combo now, isn't it? Devastate, that's back magic skill, this guy here. So once again, reduce the recovery, that's good. Remove the upper body hurt box, meaning it's basically now an anti-jump skill, because you know, this is nebulous as an anti-jump skill. It looks good as an anti-jump skill, but sometimes not so much, right? But now if they jump on you, boom. You don't have an upper hurt box, they can't hit you. Startup of the last hit is faster, so combo ability becomes just better across the board. Also, the hitbox is better, so that just works. It also launches the opponent higher than it did before. Also has more block stun than it did before, and more pushback on block than it did before. So this move is just, it's the Super Saiyan version of the move that it was before. Let's put it that way. Now, we did mention here, down magic skill here. This move, it could have got some better buffs, but it did get a better hitbox. And actually, to be fair, how much better did it get? Well, a lot better, because here we are, the striker's crouching, and will we hit? Yeah, we will. Before, most characters, if they ducked and like just hit ducking buttons at you, it was a no-go. Like, you were not going to get nothing. Like, this is ideally supposed to be your invincible reversal, except it would whiff on most people. Now, of course, it's not magic. If they're a little far away and they're ducking, it's still not going to connect. But now, if they're at least point blank in your face and ducking and doing whatever, you will be able to smoke them. So, this move now has some life to it. It just did not have before. Also, jump magic skill, this guy here. So, usually combo fodder, but better hitbox, better block stun on the first hit specifically, and also can be dash canceled on hit. So when it says dash canceled on hit, it means the second hit where you hit the ground. But yeah, you can run forward now while doing it. And of course, naturally get follow-ups as well. So as far as the life of the Vanguard goes, this is all massive positivity that he definitely needed, and I'm glad he got it. So the Striker, one of the super hated top tiers of before, let's just call it for what it was, right? Did she get buffed? Oh yeah, because this is the patch of buffs. So she got more guard gauge, she got more health, all that kind of stuff. Also, a new bonus in Awakening. If she is low health and in an Awakening state, she now does more guard gauge damage. That was always kind of her thing. And since there's more guard gauge for everyone, you know, it kind of mitigates it a little bit. But now, if she's in Awakening state, she'll do more guard gauge damage and go from there. So as for changes here, some buffs. So forward S, that's the big fist here, can now be canceled into the magic skills, even on whiff. So you can basically Kara cancel your magic skills by entering forward S first, and then just immediately canceling into whatever button of your choice, which I'm sure is going to wildly change up just neutral in general, and potentially all new combo routes as well. Back S, that's the low kick. Reduced recovery, so she recovers quicker than she did before, so more frame advantage, all that kind of stuff. Her dive kick, so if it catches the opponent airborne, the type of splat is different. See, it hits the enemy quite a bit harder. So, I'm no striker main, I'm not going to lie to you guys. So, as for some of the particulars of that, I'll leave it to you, but it is definitely there. At bare minimum, it's easy enough to follow up and get a jab and all that kind of stuff after it. So now, stand MS, the triple kick. Big part of her offense. The third hit is now jump cancelable. So if you hit the enemy grounded with this, you can just go right up into the air and do whatever you want. That is pretty bananas. The mountain pusher here, that is the big old shoulder. And guess what? If it connects, you can now dash cancel it on hit. So you can run out. Now, when I mean on hit, I mean specifically on hit. If it is blocked, you cannot dash cancel it. But now, well, geez Louise. You can dash cancel it, say, go into forward heavy, forward S, and then cancel that before it starts up into something else. And when, you know, now you're just getting combos that were never possible before, right? So a lot of inventiveness and a lot of offensive stuff is now possible thanks to this. And also, the fun's not over there, because the 1-inch punch can also be dash canceled as well. And unlike the shoulder, you can dash cancel this on block. So, good character gets better? Yeah, I guess. Once again, this is the crazy patch. At the very least, you know, you got more health. You can get actual frame 1 rolls that'll leave you with some kind of invincibility. So the top tiers are getting better, but everyone's getting better. But the universal tools are also getting better. So don't freak out too much. But yeah, Striker, if you played Striker before, don't worry. You don't got to quit the game or whatever. She's doing okay. Now, the Grappler. So the big change out of the gate here, his awakening, it's different. So before, when he was an awakening, he had like the single worst effect in the game, right? He just took a little bit less damage while blocking. Who cares? And that was even negatively a bad thing due to white life recovery and you wanting to use it. So now, he kind of got a pretty big buff because kind of everything cancels into everything now. So I'm talking stuff like boot, immediately goes into shoulder. But you know what? It can also go into grab. Shoulder can immediately go into boot. Heck, shoulder can immediately go into another shoulder. Like, you got the mana to pay for it. You can do whatever you want. We're entering crazy mode here. You can just, until the batteries run dry, do whatever you please. If you want to stomp, into stomp, into stomp, into stomp, into stomp, into stomp, like until you run out of mana, do whatever you want. So now he went from debatably the worst awakening skill to maybe the best one. Because until those batteries run dry, you can freeform. This is like X Factor. You can freeform and do whatever combos you want because everything cancels into everything now. This is specifically magic skill button attacks only, just so you know. It's not like you can just chain your normals together forever, but still, very, very, very big. Now for some of the other changes here. 1, down S, that is the big boot. Now has increased untech time, meaning regardless of how high the hit stun decay is, the enemy will recover later than they did before, meaning potentially all new combo routes. And little things here like crouch jab. Now if it hits the enemy in a juggle state, they'll be launched higher. That's good. Air Steiner, that's this guy here. So regardless of the version, the regular or the held version, you now have less landing recovery, which means, well, you recover quicker, which means new combo potential. How about Jump S? This guy here. Now, no matter what, full charge version, normal version, doesn't need a counter hit. No matter what, it will always ground bounce. So offense gets better in that regard. Very good. Now, we talked about how, you know, a lot of his charge moves, his magic skill moves are crazy in Awakening. They got better, too. The moves themselves are better. So, Magnum Salt, that is the big old stomp. First up here, the second hit now launches a bit higher than it did before. That's good. That means more combo potential. Reduced damage scaling for combos. That means you're doing more overall damage because Stomp is a major part of your combo structure. So now you're just doing more overall damage. Increased block stun. Now the heavy version was always plus, but the light version not as much. The light stomp is just less negative. It's still negative, but less negative. As long as you space it, you should be good. No worries there. Now, Seismic Crash, that is his reversal. It says moved up the counter hit timing. Now, as far as I can tell, this means it's finally a frame 1 reversal. I've not been able to get counter hit out of it, at least in my testing. One of the issues he's always had is, well, he just couldn't wake up because this move didn't start frame 1. Therefore, it legitimately just was not a valid wake-up technique. Now, it seemingly is. And add the fact that he has the frame 1 invincible roll like everyone else does. This means this character can actually defend himself on wake up, which is great. Because his problem was the offense game was all right, you know. As far as grapplers go in all fighting games, it was a good one. He's a very good example of what's possible, but man, he just is god-awful on defense. The second he was on his back, that might as well have been game over. And now, thanks to these options, he is very blessed and will do much better. Now, also tackle. So tackle, reduced recovery. You recover quicker. This especially means your light tackle means less death on block, especially if you space it. That's very, very good. And if it counter hits specifically, it now launches the opponent higher than it did before. And this is specifically for the base version, the green version. The held version also has reduced recovery, so just better across the board once again. the held version of his grab, so the red version, the charge version versus the green version, now has more knockdown time than it did before. It's already pretty generous, and now even more so. So relearn your Oki, relearn your setups, because there's definitely going to be stuff there. And also his air grab, reduced recovery. So just winning across the board. He's absolutely going to have all new combo routes, more damage across the board. And he was already one of the more damaging characters in the game, so it definitely will help. He'll probably be a legitimate two-touch character. And just life is easier. My biggest change, honestly, is just the defense stuff, because he can breathe now to a degree. Like, the crazy stuff in this game will still be the crazy stuff, but he gets to play the game now. And that's the biggest thing. A lot of the more poor-off characters just couldn't play the game once they blocked the first hit. And now they can, on top of all the buffs. They're just doing good. Ranger. So one of the things here, many characters got their Awakening buffs changed. His debuff in Awakening lasts a little bit longer. Now let's just go straight to a silly change. So stand A. That is his gunshot. And now it can be dash canceled. And frankly, it's kind of ridiculous that this is an option, really. Now, of course, naturally, the shot is duckable still, but considering how fast it is... Now, just to note, this only applies to the standing light. So you can't crouch cancel this or the medium or whatever, but still, very interesting quality of life change. Now, speaking of down A, which is a very good button, it also got faster startup. It comes out quicker than it did before, better frame data, and also reduced recovery, so better frame data. So it's just better across the board. Also an interesting change here. So Forward S, this guy here, the breakdown, will actually OTG against grounded opponents now. So it would seem, no matter how far along they are, if they're grounded, you can pick them up. That's pretty handy. Now, speaking of pretty handy, back skill, this guy here, the first hit, where he kind of hits you with the butt of the gun, can now be jump canceled. So that means wacky stuff like that is now possible, and that's very, very interesting. I'm sure that probably means a lot of new combo routes, a lot of new offensive potential. You can also jump cancel it on block, just so you know. So you can go in and just try to cross them up or whatever. Offensively, this just adds a lot more zazz to him. His grenade, that's S-Wall Airborne, says has less recovery. So he recovers a little bit quicker when he hits the ground, I suppose. It's a pretty good button, so that's definitely to his benefit. Also interesting here, so Forward MS, that's the big flip over move where he just goes across screen, right? You can now mid-air cancel it into his jumping MS, which means, well, geez Louise, that's a lot more potential again. So once again, this guy, he's kind of unlocking the limiter here. Just a lot more things are possible that just couldn't be done before offensively. And he was already a very annoying character to fight against, honestly. So, man, like, this is going to be pretty good. I think Ranger's making out like a bandit. So the launcher, I know a lot of people are hoping for buffs here, and she got them. So like several other characters, if she's an Awakening, she just does straight up more damage. That's great. Stuff like A. Is, you know, basic poke, right? Stand A now has more hit stun, more untech time, meaning no matter how long the combo is, it will still force the enemy to be in hit stun, which means if you're using at the end of combos, you can get stuff you could not get before. Crouching A, oh my word, let's read off the list here. So reduced startup, it comes out faster, better frame data. Reduced recovery, so once again, better frame data. Increased hit stop duration, so they're in the stun state, the hit stun state for longer than they were before. Extended the untech time, so once again, no matter how long the combo is, even at the end of a combo, they will remain stuck getting hit longer. And also can be followed up by standard A, meaning that works. So you can go crouch A, crouch light, into stand light, and go from there. So basic building block of offense, but now she has it, and it's a good one considering also the general range of these moves, right? Also on the light train, Jump A. Jump A now has more hit stop, just like before. If you're using it while the enemy is airborne, it will now launch them higher and reduce recovery, so just better across the board. Stand B, that is the flamethrower. So it says the disarming motion, I'm assuming that means like the end where she's putting it away, can now be canceled into magic skills. And well, that just makes life easier for her across the board because, you know, canceling the magic skills is pretty good. Crouch B, that is the grenade toss. So can be canceled by various skills, and by various skills they mean like literally the skill button, and can be canceled even on whiff. So if you just want to start tossing grenades, you can have a grenade on the screen while you have a rocket on the screen, or go for a slide, or the grenade, like whatever you want. Like you can toss out all sorts of stuff while spamming grenades, which makes the grenade toss infinitely more valuable. Jump B, that is the chain gun. So the chain gun now has a better hitbox. So awesome, that's good. Another massive change is down S, the grenade launcher. So now you can actually use it as an anti-air, because now, as it's worded, remove the upper body hurt box immediately before the activation of the move. So basically, any kind of jumping attack, you just won't be there to hit, at least on the top portion. If it's deep, you still get hit. But now you can more reliably use it as an anti-air. That's great. Now, also what's great is you can jump cancel it on hit. So if they jump at you or you want to use it as a combo, you can do whatever you want. You can just jump in and follow up. And, you know, with those jump A buffs, there you go. That can help. Also, reduce damage scaling for combos. So if you use this in a combo, you would do more damage than you would have otherwise. So it's a viable anti-air. It's viable for combos now, which is better across the board. Also, Spriggan. So Spriggan, this is her slide. It says reduced knockback distance. So you're just a little bit closer to the enemy. So if you want to pressure them after the knockdown, because it is a decent knockdown, it'll be a lot easier for you. The laser rifle, that is just S while you're jumping. So that also got buffs here. Reduced landing recovery, so you recover quicker once you hit the ground. Increased hit stun, and adjusted the untechable, so just better later on in combos. Once again, better across the board. Now, charge laser rifle, this is just stand magic. So reduce the magic cost. So now it is only 30 for it. That's good. Increase hit stun, increase block stun, increase the untech time. So once again, better at the end of longer combos, all that kind of stuff. So just better across the board. Her reversal. So reduced recovery on hit, so she recovers quicker. That's good. And also launches the opponent higher. So reversal's doing good. Forward magic skill, that is the big boy. So forward magic skill, reduced recovery. So once again, the second the animation's gone, she can like immediately move. That's great. And also can connect against downed opponents. So remember how the slide said it left you closer? Guess what? That's a thing now. So you get like combos from getting your slide thanks to this guy, because now it can OTG. So doing good. Back magic skill, that is the big mortar with the drop. Reduce the magic skill cost, so now it is 40. So still not cheap, but you know, it's a pretty powerful effect. That's good. And the quantum bomb, that is this guy here. So this is a pretty big combo fodder, depending on how you want to use it. Increase the minimum amount of damage it can do. So if you're using this in combos, you will do more overall damage. So quality of life changes for the launcher. If you liked her before, I think things are going pretty good for her now. She's better across the board. So like many other characters, the Inquisitor has some new buffs while in the awakening state. One of them is she does more guard gauge damage. So locking people down with the wheel, it's kind of a big deal, right? And now she'll do more guard gauge damage while that's happening. So you're more likely to guard break people while you're in your awakening state. Also, it's a little difficult to tell just by the naked eye. But when it comes to like stuff like walk speed, she actually moves faster in awakening state now than compared to just, you know, regular health. So more movement speed is better for sure. It's not a lot, but it always helps. Now, as far as the basics go, stuff like down A here, pokes. So it has less startup, so it comes out faster, and less recovery, so you recover quicker. So the frames are just better all around. Stand B, this guy here, also less recovery, so you recover quicker, frame data is better. Now going to stand S, the big guy here. So also reduce recovery, keeping a theme here, frame data better. Down S, better believe, reduce the recovery, frame data is better. Now here's an interesting one. So forward S, cut and dash. So you could attack from all that kind of stuff before, but now you can cancel the dash into a lot of the magic skills. Like whatever you want to cancel it into, that is your choice, but you can cancel the dash into them now. So that's going to help with like aggressiveness, potentially new combos. I'm not an Inquisitor main, so I don't know how to figure that part out. I'll leave that labbing to you guys, but just interesting. So you can dash forward and cancel into whatever you want to cancel into. That definitely adds to the aggressive value of the character at bare minimum. Also, now back S. So this is the move that applies the debuff. You can cancel back S into forward S now. So you can dash in. So you can apply it, dash in, and then say, you know, do a fire move, immediately taking advantage of the fire debuff. So interesting. Once again, adds new offensive potential. Also, if you combo into the hit, the damage scaling is reduced, so you will do more overall damage for such combos. That's very, very good. Also, keeping with the utility of the dash, her dive kick. Her dive kick, down S in the air, the landing can now be cancelled into the dash, which means all sorts of offense. Once again, you can cancel into any magic skill from the dash, so anything you want to do that is dashable, even at bare minimum, just doing the actual dash attack, you can now do it. So just offense is better, better, better across the board here. Summary Justice is his forward magic. So reduced recovery, better frame data, increase the hit back on the last slash. So the last part here, they are knocked further away. This also applies on block. So if they block it, they are knocked a little bit further than they were before. So basically just better all around. And also jump magic, this guy here. Reduce the recovery. Once again, when you land and say if they block or whatever, they get hit, whatever, you recover faster. Therefore, the frames are more in your favor. So for general aggressiveness, all this new stuff with the dash, the cancels, being able to do it from all these moves here, especially important moves, this is just giant quality of life. And also the health buff. So everyone got more health, so I'm not talking about it in every single character section, but she got a lot more health. Before, she was tied for the least amount of health, and she still is a lower health character, but now it is not just so massively disparate. She was at 850 health, now she's at 930 health, so she's doing good. Now, the Crusader, so like when the other characters, his Awakening got buffed, it's the same stuff he had before, but now he takes even less damage, he has even more guard gauge resistance, and he recovers white health even faster than he did before, so it's just better, better, better. Also, his crouch. He's just lower to the ground now, so no longer susceptible to the striker's instant overheads. Because before, if she was in his face, she could just either just go low, or just do jump, jab in the dive kick, and it was 50-50 on the spot. Like, he had no defense against it. Now, jump jab does not hit him while he's crouching, so he is just no longer subject to an effectively really unfair 50-50. So, normalized, that's good. So, on to the buffs. Down A, down light, this guy, the punch. Very important button for him because all of his stuff's so slow. Now has reduced startup, so it is faster, and also reduced the recovery. So it combos into itself now without a counter hit. Little things like his jump A, less landing recovery, that's good. Stand B, the big bonk. So reduced recovery, so he recovers quicker, that's good. Jump B, this guy here. So more hits done on hit. The opponent is staggered when they're counter hit. You can see here, counter hit. Oh, there we go. They're blown back a bit. So this is an all new effect. Meaning, if I connect, it's good. I can get like basically just a little bit of a follow-up. It was definitely meant to be a big jumping button, and its use as a big jumping button was, you know, not always so great. Now, if you get a counter hit, at bare minimum, you get some stuff off it. So that is very good. Also, if you manage to connect against an airborne enemy, it bounces them now. Meaning, once again, also, if it connects against someone who is airborne, it will ground bounce them now. So this does mean there is potential for combos there. That is also another pretty significant buff. Stand S. So now it causes a stagger effect on hit. So no more just bouncing them around, flinging them across screen. They are standing when it is done. Now, why does this matter? Because he can do a lot of new things. Because he can go from stand S into forward S. Or, conversely, back S if he so chooses. This is something that simply was not possible before, like at all. And this is across the board. This is just as an S by itself here. He can do this off a jab. He can do it off a crouching jab. You can do it off like the AA auto combo follow-up. You can do it off stand B. This wildly opens up his offense. Not the least of which as well, kind of opens up, you know, new combo potential to say the least, right? On top of like, you know, block strings, all that kind of stuff. So that is an amazing quality of life change for him. And also the counter works off all much the same as well. Now this, the Hammer of Repentance, also leaves the opponent standing now on hit. And since it's an S, you can now cancel the recovery into forward S or back S. So Once again, just changing up how the offense works, but very, very interesting. And yes, that is a combo, so don't worry, you don't lose combo potential there. Stand Magic, this guy here. Reduce startup invulnerability against projectiles, so now you can basically use it always on reaction against a fireball. Very, very good. And also, it extended the untech time for the first hit, meaning they're in stun for longer. Because at the end of some longer combos, the first hit could connect, and then they would fall out of the combo. And you would just whiff the second hit and then die, basically. So now it should always connect no matter the combo length. That is very good. The Spear, Jump Magic. You now recover faster when you land. That is very handy, to say the least. Very good. Also, when you have Grace of Lemedios up here, that's the big buff. So it's always been very greedy on the mana. But when you do the Apocalypse, that's the airborne version here, where like the Laser Death Show shows up here, the mana cost on that has been reduced. Still not cheap to set all this up, for sure. But now you're not just going to be guaranteed, like, you know, out of mana and going from there. So it's better in that regard. Also, the Apocalypse setup, you actually recover quicker than you did before while setting it up, so it's good. But yeah, overall, big quality of life buff for Crusader. Not the least of which is just he's a normal character now and isn't not subject to instant 50-50s that no human could possibly react to when he crouches. So you don't got to worry about that. That's good. But being able to cancel into his skill off basic stuff will wildly open up the character's offensive potential. Very, very, very good. Very, very, very strong. So the Swift Master. You notice how everyone's been getting a lot of buffs, right? And does that mean Swift Master got buffed? Yeah, it does. The Wind Rat is stronger. He got a health buff too, although it is very little compared to some of the other characters. And he also got a new Awakening effect. So now, a lot of magic skills can just be cancelled into the Wind Orb. Doesn't matter if you connect or not, you can do it on hit or on whiff. And also, he regains his magic faster than he did before while in Awakening. So have fun with that. So some of the buffs. Jump B, this guy here. So more hit stun, more block stun. That's good for him. Forward S. That is his, Geese Howard double Reppuken. And now the first hit can be jump canceled. And you are allowed to jump cancel this on block too, by the way. So you can just jump like into an immediate cross up or whatever gimmickry you so choose. The first hit being able to be jump canceled is pretty big. Now the thing is, if it becomes an actual projectile, then you can't jump cancel anymore. It has to be like when it's part of the initial hit, but still pretty strong. Jump S, this guy here, has expanded the hitbox, so it just makes those combos where you're just doing like multiple of these guys in a row, it just makes them easier because they are a little strict, so if you struggle with that, that'll just be to your benefit. Stand Magic, this guy here. So if you do the airborne version specifically, you now have reduced recovery. That's good. Forward Magic, that's the Wind Orb. So we talked about how in Awakening you can cancel moves into Wind Orb. So now it costs less mana, and it's only 30 mana now. And also, before you could detonate it into moves like the Stormquaker, now you can cancel the startup immediately in the Stormquaker. So say just like the Vanguard, if you want that move specifically, you can do it on demand now. You just hit the button twice. So the Wind Twist as well, that's his Hurricane Shields. Just like before with the Wind Orb, if you want to cancel it right away, you can go into the follow-up immediately and just go from there. So more options, more better. And yeah, so the Swift Master, who is perhaps the most villainous character in fighting games in general in the last couple of years, because that's just how strong he was, he's doing better. But once again, everyone's doing better. And also, universal defensive mechanics are better. People have more life. People are less susceptible to being guard broken. So it's a bit more of a reasonable game now to deal with someone like the Swift Master. Enchantress. So like many other characters, got a bit of an Awakening buff. So while she is in the Awakening state, while she is at low health, she will now recover her gray health faster than she did before. And also her mana recovery is better than it was before. So she'll gain magic just a little bit quicker. Now the dodge, specifically for her, because her dodge is not quite the same as everyone else's, as it's like a bit of a short-range teleport. So it is reduced recovery, just like regular dodge across the board, and it will be frame 1 invincible against strikes and projectiles, just like everyone else. So it is different, but a lot of those general buffs will apply for her. Now, stuff like down S. So, like many other characters, you can now jump cancel it when it connects, which means new air combos, new potential, all that kind of stuff just adds to her overall offensive potential. Very, very good. S while landing, that is her giant Akuma wishes he had something like this fireball. So now she recovers faster when she lands. So that means you can jump again quicker, you can move again quicker. More importantly, you can block faster if it, for whatever reason, did not connect. So to her benefit, just makes the move better. Forward magic, that is the whip, and it's one of the trickier moves in the game because it also steals magic if it connects, right? So got quite a bit of buffs. So 1, reduced recovery, that's good. Increase the minimum damage. So by itself, if it connects raw, it doesn't really matter. But if you're using it in combos, the least amount of damage it can possibly do is higher, so that means your combos do more damage. Launch is higher and increase the untech time. So if you're using it at the end of a combo, before they can flip out and recover, that time is now extended. So potentially longer combos are now possible. Also, the puppet. So when you're using the puppet here and using the reversal, it says the knockdown time is now increased. So to your benefit again, potentially you can make some setups work. But not as extensive as some of the other characters, but definitely good. She has more combo potential now thanks to jump canceling the launcher. And just, you know, her weird roll is in line with everyone else's. So frame 1 invincible, that's good. And just living life. Kunoichi, like so many other characters, her awakening skills got buffed. So she moves faster now while the awakening is live. That's good. And she also deals more white life when the opponent is blocking. So also good. Now, when it comes to some of the interesting stuff here, so stand S, it's always been all right, right? Like, you know, you need it for combos, that kind of stuff. You can now directly go into down S. Okay, handy. And now down S, you can jump cancel it on hit. So that means all sorts of new combo potential, all sorts of new routes. World's your oyster. Hit the lab. Also, down S on the ground can be now canceled into down S in the air. So they can directly link into each other. Now here's a doozy. So forward S, that's kunai toss. So that works as advertised, except for one little change here. You can cancel that into the teleport. And not on hit. Like, I can be all the way back here. And, you know, they're doing their thing. They're traveling across the screen and, yo, let's teleport. So now it's effectively a shield to protect your teleport in. This is a very, very interesting change. And her offense is going to get a lot more layered and aggressive for sure. Because that's some greasy stuff. Because, you know, before a teleport, well, okay, if I see it, I'll do something, you know, try to smack it out of the air, whatever, right? But now, if you got the projectiles covering your way in, things can change up. Also, on the log clone, there is a brief period of invincibility on it, and now it happens earlier, so to your benefit. Also, down S, while you're in the air, we talked about how you can cancel it and all that kind of stuff. You now recover quicker from the move itself and your landing, so it's actually pretty decent for some combo structures. So now those combos will be easier yet, and perhaps you can get new things you could not get before. So her change list is not as long as some of the others, but she was already in a pretty good spot. And once again, she's, well, just better. And kunai into teleport is pretty wild, honestly. So look forward to using that. Ghostblade, his awakening has changed up a little bit like many other characters. So he does a bit more guard gauge damage than he did before. And also he's a bit faster than he was before. As you can tell, he's not a speed demon here, but as he's one of the slower characters to begin with, having a little extra speed definitely is nice. Okay, out of the gate, one of the biggest changes is stand S here. So you know this move, it's kind of an important move, except it had always one fatal weakness. In that the final hit, you could recover before it came out, so you could do stuff. Now, of course, he could cancel it early, all that kind of stuff, so like he would avoid doing it, like letting the whole move rock. But now, you are forced to block all of it. It is now airtight effectively. So no more mashing a reversal through it or whatever. You actually have to block the duration. So in terms of just general pressure, all that kind of stuff, it is definitely a massive boon to the character. Now, down S, the big old giant poke. So he recovers quicker. That's good. That means more spamming big long-range moves. And also, you can cancel it with his retracer. That's the teleport. Then he can either just teleport or change places with the ghost, right? So now he can do this and still be on top of you. And, well, sort of to that exact point, as you can see here, he actually has very, very, very slight frame advantage. I, myself here, as the white-haired Ghostblade, I guess you will if you want to call it that, I am just in the air just a little bit more, and I land just a frame after him. So that means down S into the teleport is plus on block. So if you're looking to be in their face and pressure them, that is now an option you have available to you. And that is, you know, opportunities he just didn't have before. So that's very, very good. Going from there, so forward S follow-up. That guy there where you can sort of combo into it. The second hit specifically, better hitbox, so combos less likely to drop. Third hit as well, better hitbox. Once again, combos less likely to drop. And also the third hit can now be canceled into magic button moves. And that's pretty big. So that means more combos, more potential, more everything. Jump S in the air, this guy here, has better recovery, so you can control your character a bit faster after the fact. That's always handy. Standing magic. Increase the untech time. So it means they're in the hit stun effect for longer, even at the end of a very long combo. So potentially new combo routes. Also MS into MS, this guy here. So on top of you hitting the enemy, you can now also teleport back to the ghost. So say you're no fan of committing to anything, you can get the hits in and immediately teleport to the back of the screen. So if you want to be tricky or just kind of want to play lame, that helps. Because if they happen to block, you're not in a great position. But you know what? If you're willing to spend just that extra bit of meter, nah, I don't got to be here if I don't want to be. So that's very good and definitely helps his neutral for sure. And a lot of this here, we kept talking about the teleport here and how you can do it from new moves now. The move itself, the teleport, you recover faster than you did before. Now, it's not invincible. That part didn't get changed. But you have roll at least, so that's something. But the actual teleport here, you control the character way faster than you did before, which makes all these gimmicks just possible to begin with. So, interesting changes for the Ghostblade, absolutely. Here we are with the Hitman. Wait a second, rooflemonger. Isn't this guy like one of the best characters in the game and you're telling me he got buffed? Yep, he did. That's how this patch works. It's very little compared to a lot of the other characters, but still. So one of them here, and this is a change a lot of characters are getting, down S. The second hit, which launches them, you can now jump cancel and do whatever fancy air combos you can dream up from there. So helps his combo potential, gives him more offensive routes to work with. Unlike some of the other characters that got this change or changes like it, you can only do it on hit, just FYI. So no like instant overheading them with like jump M or whatever, because that'd be a little silly. On that note here, jump S in the air, increase the untech time. So if you're using this in a longer combo, they'll be stuck in the hit stun animation for longer, meaning they won't fall out immediately. So that's good. An interesting change for him is Crouch B, this guy here, which is you know, one of the better normals in the game. It launches a bit higher now. In fact, it launches high enough for it naturally to go into forward and S. Even at like the absolute tip of the move, it'll still connect, which just did not happen before. So that's a sizable buff for his neutral. And back magic, this guy here. So reduced the recovery and it launches the opponent just a little bit higher. So just makes the move better. And that's it. Once again, this is one of the best characters in the game, and he will remain probably one of the best characters in the game. So Troubleshooter out of the gate, down A, the poke, and very strong and important poke too, by the way, is faster and recovers quicker. That's good. So that's good by itself, but also his combo structure. This is actually kind of critical. So many of his combos revolve around you tossing the net, then dashing forward, mini dash, and doing the crouch light to detonate the net and explode and keep the combo going. So this, even if it's like a frame faster, that just makes life easier. Because the timing on those combos is really tight, but you also really need to do those combos to get the most out of the character. So, quality of life buff, if nothing else. His G-Bomb, that is the forward and S grenade toss, one of the better moves he has, very strong move. can now be canceled into his drink. So his drink, he gets a little bit of gray life, and also he does a little bit more damage as well. So that is very handy to have. The damage buff is pretty significant. But, you know, when you have gray life, then you can just get a free cancel whenever you want, right? So that's good. And now you can do it whenever. Also, the move, you can also cancel the recovery of it into the drink as well. So that's to his benefit. Also, speaking of to his benefit, like so many other characters, crouching S can now be jump canceled. So potentially new combo routes, all sorts of gimmickry. Like it was already full of gimmicks anyways with stuff like that, because you can cancel in the grenade toss, right? But even more so now. Also, while he's in the awakened state, some moves can be canceled into his final gunshot here. Specifically the net toss can be canceled in the final gunshot. And also, only while you're in the awakening state, the net toss, he recovers quicker than he did before, just making a lot of those routes, which are super key to the character, more viable to do. So small changes, but still, once again, buffed overall. Wait, rooflemonger, Dragon Knight's getting buffed? Yeah, everyone's getting buffed. So one of the things out of the gate, if Dragon Knight's in Awakening, will do more damage and also recovers white life faster than before. And now for some of the silly stuff. Stand B, this guy here, can be jump canceled, because why not? And can also be jump canceled on block. A lot of moves that are gaining the jump cancel property cannot be jump canceled on block. This one totally can. And also, speaking of which here, down S can also be jump canceled on block. So now this is the launcher. You can jump cancel, follow up, and do whatever you want. All your favorite anime combo possibilities can now be done. Forward S, this guy here, Skybreak. So reduce recovery and can now be followed up by the Knuckle Blaster. So now, oh geez Louise, that's a natural combo. And here's the beauty, you can do it on whiff as well. So hit or connect, it don't particularly matter. You can cancel it into the projectile at will. Much the same here, back S, this guy here. You can also cancel that into the projectile as well. Although this one, you have to hit. It has to be the first hit, then you can cancel it into the projectile. But still, pretty interesting. And it is a natural combo to boot. Forward Magic, that is the giant poke that eats up most of the screen. If it counter hits, the knockdown is now much more severe than it was before. Also, the Dragon Breath, where your little dragon buddy, well, he breathes the fireball. So now, on the first hit, has much more of a pronounced launch effect, as you can see here. The last hit knocks him further back, and it does more damage. So your little dragon buddy, who is always, he's pretty good. He's better yet than he was before. So not a lot of changes, but once again, buffs across the board. The Lost Warrior, one of the wackier characters in this game. So it's like so many other characters, Awakening has a new effect. He has more defense while in Awakening, and also has more guard gauge while in Awakenings. So he was always famous for the character, like, he almost didn't come online till he had Awakening and had a lot of his stacks build up. So now you can hold on just a little bit longer to get your wacky stuff out. Like Crusader, he now has a crouch that is properly low to the ground, so no longer suffering the ill effects of instant overheads from people like the Striker into full combo into death. That's good. Stand A, he's always had such awful normals, honestly, but now is faster. That is great. Also reduced recovery, also great. And like so many other characters, his down S can now be jumped canceled. So lots of new potential as far as offense goes for this character. Also, you might have noticed when I did hit his launcher here, you know, I'm going like ABC, right, into S here. And, well, that's kind of the new thing now, isn't it, here? So while he is airborne, S is now this. You still maintain the fireball if you want. That is just now down an S. So now he has multiple options to work with while in the air. That's great. His MS, this guy here. So he can still do follow-ups, all that kind of stuff. It says specifically the jump cancel timing has been moved upwards, so you can just jump faster than you could before. And his down magic, his reversal. So just like the Grappler, it says it moved up the counter hit timing. And as far as my testing, I cannot get smoked out of it. Like, I can be too late, I guess, but I cannot get smoked out of it. So I think it is now frame 1, the counter. which means he has real defense. Because before, just like the Grappler, if you knocked him down, sort of game over. Like, honestly, had no means to defend himself because he had nothing that worked on frame 1. So now with that and the fact that rolls are frame 1 invincible against strikes and projectiles and all that kind of stuff, that means he has defensive options. So that's just plain great. So not tons of changes, but once again, all buffs, all to his benefit. And that is the patch. So once again here, across the board, everyone got buffed. People who were on the lower end of the totem pole, like, you know, the Vanguard or the Grappler, their buffs are wildly more insane than, you know, a lot of the other characters, and deservedly so, because they actually need it. You know, you could argue Swiftmaster shouldn't have been buffed, but you know what? That's not the spirit of the patch, right? The spirit is everyone gets buffed, so even Swiftmaster gets buffed. And, you know, as someone who, you know, breaks down patches, I gotta say, this is one of my favorite patches in recent memory. I like the spirit of the patch. I like how they're just going crazy for everyone. They're just throwing everything at the wall, but in a way that makes everyone stronger, but also thanks to the universal changes of more health, better defensive options. The wackiness of the game, while technically is higher than it's ever been, is also less so now because it's possible to defend yourself. Because a good chunk of the cast simply could not defend themselves. And especially, you know, without meter. If you didn't have magic, you had nothing. At least now you have a guard roll, right? You can roll out of stuff if you know it's coming. So overall, fantastic patch, man. 2 thumbs up. I hope they keep this energy going forward for DnF Duel. We do have a season pass coming up with 5 DLC characters. And just good stuff. Exciting times for the game going forward, I would say. So that all said, let me know what you think about everything here. If I happen to have missed something, please by all means post it in the comments below. And otherwise, well, that's the video. So thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has found you well. And go out and play some DnF Duel.